It has been nearly a quarter of a century, but IndyCar in 2026, my God, it's really happening. It really is happening this time, guys. Believe me, trust me, IndyCar will have a video game in 2026. I know it's the biggest news of today, I would say. I mean, shoot, she went on his podcast, guys. It's not really all that surprising. IndyCar video game. iRacing is going to make it. I'm as happy as a clam. I think obviously this is one of the biggest holes right now in IndyCar in terms of the marketing, in terms of the outreach, in terms of getting young people involved and engaged. The fact that there has not been a standalone video game in the era of gaming ruling, in the era of streaming video games, in the era of Twitch, in the era of online gaming, Discord, all of these things, this has been one of the, I mean, I cannot overstate what a big deal IndyCar not having a video game is. So the fact that there is one finally announced, there is one coming, and it's from a reputable studio that we know will be able to deliver the goods, really couldn't be any better. Really couldn't be any better. So let's take a look here. This was the teaser image that both iRacing and IndyCar put out. I should also move this up because there we go. That's the important bit. Obviously, coming in 2026. Now, Adam Stern reported that this will come in the second half of 2026, so don't expect this for the Indianapolis 500. But I'd tell you guys, if we've waited since IndyCar Series 2005, which came out in 2004 and was based on the 2003 IndyCar series, we can wait just a little bit longer. What is encouraging to me about this is the video game will not only come out on the consoles, which of course is super important for all of the casual fans out there. So it'll be out on the Xbox Series X and S, as well as the PS5. But to me, I think for the hardcore gamers, the addition of not only Steam, which if you don't know, Steam is kind of the online marketplace for PC gaming. So all the big games, all the big titles are there. That is where everybody knows they have to go to buy their games. But also, it's going to be available on the Steam Deck. And if you don't know what the Steam Deck is, it's an awesome little portable console. It's essentially a computer in your pocket, although it's about this size. But you can now, while you're flying to Toronto, race in Toronto on a plane. What a concept. So the idea that this is a game that will be not only console friendly, but also mobile game friendly, or at least a portable console friendly, says to me that it's going to be accessible. It's not going to be full on sim, although everything we've heard about NASCAR 25, which is coming from iRacing Studios as well, which is kind of an amalgamation of both iRacing and the former Monster Game Studio, which did some of the NASCAR games in the past. They also did World of Outlaws and the SRX game, which I think the World of Outlaws game is really pretty good. Again, everything we've heard about NASCAR 25 is good, but until we get the Joe Public to play it, we don't know that for 100% certainty. But I'll tell you, this gives me a lot of confidence. Now, IndyCar put out a press release about this. Let's have a look and see this. If I can once again readjust the words here. iRacing.com, Motorsport Simulation, and IndyCar are pleased to announce a long-term licensing agreement for iRacing Studios to produce standalone IndyCar titles for console and PC. Now, what's interesting about this, and one of the things that the last deal with Motorsport Games was a pretty big problem, was the fact that it was an exclusive deal. The good news is, at least from what I'm seeing here, there's no mention of exclusivity. So, for example, IndyCar is in Forza. I would certainly hope they stay in Forza. I would hope that the IndyCar chassis and the IndyCar license can be licensed out to other video games. I wouldn't like to see it just limited to this game. I would like to see IndyCar in all video games. I mean, again, I think we want the best of both worlds. But I think this is great as well that there is an extended licensing agreement with iRacing because they've just added the Indy Next car. They've announced that they're scanning St. Pete. Presumably, they'll scan a few more tracks before we get this 2026 video game out. This is awesome. IndyCar fans have long been clamoring for a standalone title for consoles, and we're excited to give them what they're looking for in 2026, said Tony Gardner, president of iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. iRacing Studios' standalone IndyCar title will offer all the excitement of the NTT IndyCar series and an immense, immersive experience for the fans that fans of all ages can enjoy. Like I mentioned, probably going to, while it won't, I don't think this is going to be like super hardcore arcade casual game. There's definitely going to be some training wheels if you want to put them on. I guess I'll put it that way. We are also very excited about how the game is coming together. So, sounds like they're already in at least pre-development, if not, development proper. IndyCar president J. Douglas Bowles, the most competitive and challenging racing on the planet deserves a dedicated and widely available gaming experience. iRacing Studios is the ideal partner for us, trusted and known to our core fans, and ready to share our sport with a wider and highly engaged audience. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about before we kind of get into more of this press release is the fact that, not many years ago, you go back to late 2022, and IndyCar and iRacing had a huge falling out over the Motorsport Games exclusivity deal. The IndyCar license was essentially pulled away from iRacing. The cars remained, but the IndyCar logos and official championships and the Indy 500, that was all gone. In fact, IndyCars disappeared from all other video games while the whole Motorsport Games thing was being sorted out. So if you think back to that and you think back to the anger and the vitriol from the gaming community, and you had Dale Earnhardt Jr. tweeting about how disappointed he was about all of these things. Of course, Dale Jr. is a partial owner in iRacing proper. And you just think about all that animosity and the fact that IndyCar has not only come back to iRacing, we obviously have known that for a while. They've been back in iRacing for a while. But we've gotten to the point where now they are producing the standalone video game. You know what? Let's say this. I think right now, I'm prepared to say credit where credit's due to Mr. President Doug Bowles. Because, and do I agree with 100% everything about the direction of IndyCar racing right now? Hell no. I feel like if I did, it would be a very exciting week and then the sport would fall apart. But if you look at what Doug has done in his short time as the president of IndyCar, you're starting to stack some wins. Obviously we don't have the schedule out yet. I'm hearing some good news about some events that people are really looking forward to. I guess I'll just put it that way. So the schedule, I think we're expecting pretty soon. I think people will like what they see. We finally have a committal date on the new chassis and engine formula. Yeah, is it 2028? That's disappointing, but at least we have it. Hopefully they stick to it. But at least for now, I have no reason to doubt them. And the fact that they've gotten the video game across the finish line, I mean, my God, we're stacking the W's here. Now, of course, some of you are going to go back to that video I made probably, what was that, early 2022, when the new the first new video game was announced with Motorsport Games, and you'll probably hear a lot of the same positive things that I said then that I'm saying now. But, this is much less of a risk. And the fact that there is a NASCAR game, weeks away from a release at this point, I think is a testament to the fact that we're going to get the IndyCar video game from iRacing Studios. They're a proven commodity, and it will probably be a good product. And I think that's what we're really, really looking forward to. A little bit more about iRacing Studios. Obviously, we know the NASCAR 25. And by the way, I guess I'm definitely going to be buying NASCAR 25 now, because in some ways it's going to be a preview of what this IndyCar game is going to look like. And obviously, I mentioned World of Outlaws Dirt Racing. We've got some details about the game itself. The game will feature a robust, multi-level career mode, licensed drivers from the NTT IndyCar Series and Indy Next by Firestone, and online multiplayer. Again, that's kind of the bare minimum, but we're glad to hear that. The new product will be built from the ground up with a dedicated development team creating the game on iRacing Studios' proprietary and enhanced Ornitis engine. Our company has grown significantly in recent years with the addition of new development teams and studios. Our IndyCar title will benefit from this growth. It will also be the sole focus of one of those teams. However, the game will also incorporate elements like car and track assets, technology, and driving characteristics developed from other iRacing Studios products. And if you think about it, again, I mentioned this. iRacing is added a new physics for the IndyCar. They've added the Indy next car, or will add it in the next update. St. Pete's coming. I'm sure the other tracks that are currently missing from iRacing will be added as well. But they already have laser scans of most of the tracks that IndyCar runs on, and even some tracks that IndyCar used to race on. So I think it would be really fun, even if it was just DLC, even if it was paid DLC. I don't necessarily mind, especially if you had historic cars. If you said, hey, this is our first DLC pack, we're going to have Fontana, we're going to have Michigan, we're going to have Belle Isle, right? Wouldn't that be fun? There's an idea. Free idea there, iRacing, if you want to make some more money. And maybe like, hey, a 94 Reynard, add a few cars to the game as DLC. I think that would be fun. It would help extend the life of the game. But in terms of the base content, the tracks, the cars, the stars, that's all you really need. And I certainly hope as well, one of the great things about the IndyCar Series 2004 and 2003 game, which was based on the 2002 game, was the fact that they had an IndyCar or an Indianapolis 500 game mode where you could just do the month of May if you wanted to. I would certainly hope they bring that back, because I just thought that was a great game mode for people who, because a lot of people are going to be buying this game, or at least experimenting with it, because of the fact that the selling point is we can race the Indy 500. So hopefully there's an easily accessible way without just going into the career mode or having to grind your way up through Indy Next, to just go and doing the Indy 500. Because I think kids and casuals would want to do that. Certainly hardcore people like me are going to want to drive at a bottom feeder Indy Next team and go the whole way up. Maybe I'll make videos about that. Stay tuned. But no, I've got a smile on my face right now, as you can tell. Real world IndyCar teams and drivers will be deeply involved in the creation of the new title, including Team Penske star and iRacing enthusiast Scott McLaughlin. Since transitioning to the series full-time in 2021 from Australian Supercars, McLaughlin has won 7 races and become a fan favorite. I'm thrilled to be part of the development process for iRacing Studios' new IndyCar title, McLaughlin said. It's an honor to work with a team that has developed such amazing products to help IndyCar's first dedicated title in quite some time. It's an exciting time to be an IndyCar fan for so many reasons, and this game will take the fans' at-home driving experience to the next level. So, Scott, if it's not a good game, it's your fault. Just kidding. This is the strategy that iRacing has always gone with from a marketing perspective, and also a physics and feedback perspective. Although, you can say what you want about the iRacing physics. There's always a debate about that. It's cool that the drivers will have input. I hope that they are listened to. I hope that there's a lot of input from the industry, quite honestly, with this game. And I think the industry will get behind this. As if they're not already behind this. I think this is just going to be awesome. And so having people like Scott involved in it, I think is just great. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think the other important thing, as this press release mentions, the heritage of the relationship between IndyCar and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations dates back more than 3 decades. The company's predecessor, Papyrus Racing Games, created the iconic Indianapolis 500, the simulation, in 1989, followed by IndyCar Racing 1 and IndyCar Racing 2 in 1993 and 1995, respectively. And, if you know my pal GP Laps, you know that there are people who are still producing content and improving on IndyCar Racing 2, because in a lot of ways, if you don't look at the console games of the 2000s, there were some kart attempts in the 90s, and there were a few IRL games, but really for PC gaming, there really hasn't been a lot of standalone IndyCar games. And it's so weird too, because especially 89's Indy 500, the simulator, that was one of the first racing simulators, period, that was available mass marketly, and one that was super successful. And the fact that the sport at the time did not capitalize on that more, did not foster a much stronger relationship with Papyrus as things went forward, I think was a huge fumble. The good news is, it sure seems like we've corrected those issues. Sure, those issues were 30 years ago. And in that time since, the video game market has only boomed since then. But it's a recipe for success, because when your 3 collaborations before are those 3 games, you've got a pretty good track record. So I just think this is awesome. I really do. I'm looking forward to this. Again, the sport, look, there's a lot of things that still need to be fixed. There's a lot of contracts that still need to be signed. We've beaten those dead horses to death, right? We've beaten them to a pulp. IndyCar racing, is it progressing at the rate that we would like it to see? Of course not. But I think, I've had some conversations with some people in the last couple of days even about this, I think there's beginning to be a lot of people in the right positions who want to see this thing go forward, have passion for the sport, and you're starting to see some of the dividends to that. And coming off that great weekend in Milwaukee with a great growing crowd, an exciting race, a new winner, a video game. Again, I think a lot of people are going to like what you hear and see on the schedule for next year. It's going to be, I mean, this is me as positive as I can be. I think we might be able to get this thing going in the right direction. I think in a lot of ways it is moving in the right direction. So, I cannot tell you how important this video game is, how important it is to have a video game, because, you look at young people, and sure, I think probably young men would be the vast majority of people that you would be appealing to with a video game. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think you need to have different marketing aspects for all sorts of different people. You want to cast the widest net possible. And we want young people of any description, right? And I think that if you can create a fun video game where people can not only revisit IndyCar when IndyCar is not around, but something that will allow people to, become more knowledgeable of the sport, to learn the drivers, to learn their personalities, to learn who's fast and who's slow, to look at the different liveries, to learn the different tracks, to experience a race like the Indianapolis 500, participate at St. Pete, see if you can beat Alex Palou. I hope, it would be hilarious if Alex Palou's AI wins 9 or 10 races every season. That would be amazing, right? So I just think this could be awesome if iRacing gets it right. And I think they will. I have some confidence in them. Again, NASCAR 25 is going to give us a pretty good idea of what will be. But yeah, positivity. By the way, we'll enter the rumor zone tomorrow. Got to talk about a few things, including that Alex Palou to Red Bull rumor. Unverified tonight at 8. DL 500 Club tomorrow at 8. And then we'll be on the road to Nashville Superspeedway for the final IndyCar race of the year. Hard to believe that we're already at the end of the road there, but there's 3 IMSA races between now and the next IndyCar race. But thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. Subscribe for more IndyCar content, and this will be the place to talk about the video game as details come out. We'll see you in the next video.